Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for attending. Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you to JLF Festival as well. The concept really for this talk today was to really ask a few people who I suppose look up to in a number of ways, but also who are looking to talk about the bookmarks, I suppose, of their lives. So music, for many years and for every individual, kind of represents, yes, different changes. And for people, particularly from the subcontinent, there are aspects of stuff that we, I suppose, have to do with being here, but a lot that has to be, or is about being over there. And a lot of that has to do with either parental, cultural heritage, or a variety of different things. So that was essentially what the kind of concept was really about. And therefore, I just wanted to look at what the variety and differences and similarities there are from people from a variety of different backgrounds, because not only are there, I suppose, very popular and well-known tracks and songs that all of us will kind of have in our bookmarks, but then those that kind of, I suppose, tell the story of our own personality and our personal stories. So, I suppose we can begin with yourself, Rita, with your first track. I know we've only got an hour, so I want to get through, I suppose, as many as possible. But Rita, yes, if we could introduce your first track, which I believe is not Dorbaden, Ek Do Teen Char. Why is this track on your list, essentially?
For so many reasons. I remember when this came out, and can you all hear me okay, by the way? Yeah, great. I remember when this came out, and I was about 10 or 11 years old. And, you know, growing up as part of the Indian diaspora, there were all the classics, you know, the Sholais, etc. But I remember when this came out and seeing the video, and that VHS just getting rinsed in my house by me and my siblings and my parents. It was just such an intergenerational piece of joy, this track. Seeing Madhuri Dixit dancing and, you know, just that personality and the joy. I just couldn't get over it, and I was just obsessed. And I didn't realise at the time that I had a big crush on her, obviously, but, you know, now I realise that. But at the time, I didn't realise, and just sort of rewatching the video and re-listening to it, you just smile all the way through, you know, the storytelling in the piece of music, like with all of our music. So that's why I chose it, because for me it just marked a moment in something that felt like something that included us as the diaspora. And, you know, the older I've got, the more I kind of see it in that way. It felt inclusive of us. It didn't feel like something that came from back home that appealed to just my parents and we grew up with, and we sort of learned about home, back home, through their memories. It felt like something that was also inclusive of us. So that's why I chose it.
Amazing. What is it, do you think, that particularly about this song that was or kind of attaches itself to maybe a place in time? Was there a place that was kind of, where were you when you first heard it, is essentially what I'm trying to ask.
I was a kid. I was with my siblings. We were living above our shop in a place called Winchester, and we'd moved out of Southall, and we were the first Indian family to move there in the 80s, and there were no other Asians or even people of colour. And so we sort of, still isn't. But yeah, we sort of clung on to, our home became a little India, and we sort of clung on to the records and the cassettes and the films and, you know, those VHSs. So yeah, for us it was just sort of real celebration above our shop every time we played this track.
I think what we found, particularly with the collection, and I should have really said this at the beginning, the history of the collection that we have was that it was rescued from a record shop. Because these places, these video shops, these record shops became our museums, or they were our museums as kind of initial diaspora. People like my grandfather and father in our, you know, in a variety of places, they were our places of reference point, I suppose, which means that these songs had kind of a certain, I suppose, a certain gravity, maybe I think, attached to them. Should we move? I'm just very wary of time because we've got about 4 tracks each, I believe, at this moment in time. So if I can move on, can I move on to Nihal to ask you about your first track, about why you've chosen Down by Jay Sean as one of your...
I didn't choose that.
You didn't choose that?
No.
Which one did you choose?
Dance With You by Rishi Rich Project.
Sorry, Dance With
Yes.
You by Rich Project. Sorry, yes.
And the reason I chose that record was I think often with South Asian music, especially in kind of mainstream media, it's kind of exoticized and orientalized, and it's either Bollywood or Bhangra or it's Asian underground because, you know, they're into dance music, so that... and Jay Sean, Rishi Rich and Juggy D was just straight up pop R&B with a South Asian twist. Juggy D singing in Punjabi. And I remember, because I was DJing at Radio 1, I'd been there less than a year when it came out. And you have to understand what it did for Asian teenagers then. To see September 2003, these 3 Asians were on Top of the Pops, performing Dance With You. And it was an extraordinary moment. I remember going to Glastonbury with the 3 of them, and it was the first time there'd been a kind of South Asian kind of area for South Asian music. And because all of us were into urban music, we were all into black music, we were into South Asian vibes as well, but we were into black music. So we all went, in the morning, we went to Southall to do a signing with them. So I was traveling with them to Glastonbury. And it was like the Beatles. I mean, it was mad. There were just these like teenage girls like running after this people carrier in Southall. It was like extraordinary, right? And we're like, I'm just looking at these guys. And then because we didn't really know what Glastonbury was, we all turned up in white trainers, right? And we all looked at the mud, looked at our trainers and went, like that. So we all had to find carrier bags to put on our shoes. So there's this like kind of like 5 or 6 of us all walking through. And it was a weird journey because our tour bus broke down on the way home. It was a 24-hour journey we did, like from leaving Southall, going to Glastonbury, driving back.
You didn't stay overnight. You didn't. It was.
We were South Asians. Listen. Let me.
We're not going camping.
There's 2 things. There's 2 things brothers don't do. Brothers don't camp, and brothers don't ski.
Oh, man.
They're the things, right? They're the things, right? My parents did not come from Sri Lanka in the 60s to see me spend a minute in a tent. So when people were saying, "Oh, you're going to camp," we were like, "What? Camp? What does that mean?" Like, so no, we were definitely not going to camp. Okay. I just wanted to play this record because I think often, certainly in the kind of Guardian Easter world, this period of South Asian musical history, Raghav, Jay Sean, Rishi Rich, Juggy D, is overlooked, and it's because it was pop, right? And it was huge. It was huge for South Asian.
Absolutely. I think this is what we were saying outside, that these are kind of aspects of popular culture and history, really. They're British Asian history, they're British history. And
Asians in their 30s are booking Jay Sean for their weddings, right? And they're going, this was the first song. It's like, this made me feel seen. Imagine, it's difficult now because Top of the Pops hasn't existed for a long time, but to see 3 young South Asians on Top of the Pops, and Jay Sean went on to release a record called Down, which became a US #1 record.
Right.
Just think about how extraordinary that is for a Punjabi from Southall to have a #1 record in America. You know, exactly. Like, if he was here, he would, you know, get his flowers for that. But that is extraordinary.
It really is. Thank you. No, thank you. Moving on to...
By the way, on social media, don't at me if you ski or camp. I'm not interested. Sorry.
Brilliant. So moving on to you. I believe your first... I'm getting all the... I hope I've got these in the right order. My name is Anthony Gonzalez.
Yes.
Is this the one that... My name is Anthony Gonzalez is... I think one of the... Oh, right, I see. Yes, sorry. I shall. Thank you. Sorry, I've just been reminded we should be playing these tracks as well. I apologise. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We should we can rewind. Well, no, let's carry on as we are, I think, and then we'll come back. I think we'll come back. So my name is Anthony Gonzalez. Let's hear a bit of that, I think, first, if that's okay.
I think everyone can sing it, even if it doesn't.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sorry.
This has got to be the most bonkers record I've ever heard.
You see, the whole country of the system is juxtapositioned by the hemoglobin in the atmosphere because you are a sophisticated rhetorician intoxicated by the exuberance of your own verbosity.
What? My name is Anthony Gonzalez.
Gonzalez?
Right? My name is Anthony Gonzalez. मैं दुनिया में अकेला हूँ, दिल भी है खाली, घर भी है खाली, इसमें रहेगी कोई किस्मत वाली, आए जिसे मेरी याद आए जब चाहे चली आए, जिसे मेरी याद आए जब चाहे चली आए, रूप महल प्रेम गली खोली नंबर 420.
I was going to say thank you, that's great.
My name is Anthony Gonzalez.
So actually, I remember the film, and he was dressed in I believe, a three-piece suit. Wasn't he?
With tails, and a top hat.
So when are we talking that you first heard this, and why is this the one? Or why is this one of the ones?
This is the India I grew up in. This is a story about three brothers, all raised in different faith. It was a time of innocence. It was a time when there was no hatred. And I just thought Amitabh was so cool. He came out of an Easter egg and he sang. and India is all of us. It's including, the guy coming out of the Easter egg. And that's what made this country beautiful. And that film was just such fun. And I think we have kind of forgotten this. Today, films are much more darker, who the villains are, the storyline. It's always about hatred and the good and the bad. And yes, there were villains in this film, but the villains were also not political. They were just bad guys. Their faith didn't matter. And I think that this was why I picked the song. This is much more political. I mean, everyone else has picked it for much more kind of reasons to do with, their memories. But I picked the song because it's about memories. And I saw this in the hall. And the same way that all of you all reacted, everyone was whistling. And this is Calcutta, and Bengalis are very, very cheapo. They don't throw money. But in this, there was all this money being thrown, 10 paisa was at that time, small coins.
Right.
But it was, because we had got the ticket in black, so we were in the front, which is the shittiest seat. It was sit and watch the film like that. But I remember all the coins, and I told my father, can I take it? He told me, no, you can't. I thought, I'll collect all the coins and take it because people were throwing money when the song came on.
But at that point in time, I would imagine people also sang along, like people would get up and cheer.
It was a very different time. We went to the hall, the people were joyous. It was so wonderful. And, part of me yearns for that India. I hope before I die that India comes back, where, we watch. Where film is about entertainment, where there is no space for hatred, there is no space for segregation and separation. And, even the misogyny that you see so much on screen. It's not okay. No. It's not okay. And I'm not saying you need to have a feel-good film. I understand that films can be hard, films can be about reality. But to fan hatred, there's no space for that.
I think there was a really interesting part of that film where you see communities throughout the process of the narrative, communities kind of working together. So how does the Hindu community deal with the Christian community? How does the Christian community deal with the Muslim community and vice versa? And there are always these brilliant aspects of kind of dialogue.
Yeah, Antayo Bali Pyar Ka Dushman. You remember this? God. So, it's just, it makes me smile. And I just thought I needed to pick a song. That was a feel-good film for me and part of my childhood.
Yes. Daya Bali. Yeah, unfortunately, my cousin's called Daya Bali. We used to tease him. Daya Bali Pyar Ka Dushman. Thank you so much for that one. We're going to move on again. I owe Reeta a track. and it was Ek Do Teen Char. Could we please play a little bit of that? And then we'll... Is that possible? Can we play?
Mohini, 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 ho, 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 ho.
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
कहिए क्या सुनेंगे आप?
अरे पहले ये कहिए कहाँ थी आप?
मैं कर रही थी किसी का इंतजार।
कौन है
वो जिससे मैं करती हूँ प्यार और
I just
जिससे
wanted to play a
करती हूँ
little excerpt of
मिन्नतें
that. Can we please
बार-बार।
play? Sorry about this guy. Ek ladki ko dekha. Oh, it's great listening to the reactions.
Just another classic.
एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा, एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा, जैसे खिलता गुलाब, जैसे शायर का ख्वाब, जैसे
So, another brilliant selection. Tell us, what is Ek Ladki Ko Dekha special for you?
You know what? It's just, look at everybody. It's just such a beautiful song, isn't it? I played it in a cab recently on the way back from a night out, and everyone in the cab just turned to mush, you know. And the cab driver was happy, even in the traffic in London, it's never heard of. So that's a little gateway pass if you want that. If you're in a difficult cab journey, play that track, get on that Bluetooth. But yeah, I mean, it's just iconic, isn't it? It's just so beautiful and gentle. And, you know, I just love everything about that song. And, you know, everyone always sings along to it in unison. It's just beautiful. And it's about falling in love, you know. It's about that experience of seeing somebody and that crush and that feeling and that emotion. And who doesn't love that, right?
Absolutely.
You were just mentioning your ex. Sorry,
Oh
not to
my
bring them up,
God.
but you said it.
This is being recorded. I'm so sorry.
We can edit it out. We can edit it out.
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. It's absolutely fine. He really put me in it there. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's such a... I think this is the thing, the emotionality of breakup songs or makeup songs or whatever has this kind of... Oh, my God, I'm
Are you
really
crying?
going
Are
into...
you crying? I'm so sorry.
This is going well.
Sorry.
Again, I mean, how old... Like, what... Is there... I'm going to put it back to you. Is there a person... Is there a time, is there a change happening when you're listening to this? Or is this something when you're a kid still again in Winchester, or is this later?
You know what? I think for me, growing up, the female protagonist for me was like who I had romantic interest for, but I didn't really realise that at the time. Because it was like, you know, Kylie Minogue on Top of the Pops, or it was Bollywood films. And so for me, you know, I think when this came out, it was just so romantic and beautiful. And I always just sort of put myself in the guy's role anyway, you know. And when I started, I sample music and I sample records, Bollywood records, and I like using physical vinyl, which is why I was really excited to be part of this panel. I like using the childhood vinyl like my dad's vinyl that I nicked, basically, don't tell him. But I've still got the old classic vinyls, including this one here, Dorbadan. And I didn't include Loagi Unki Yaad from here, which is one of the tracks that I sampled in one of my songs, because it's just really sad and we didn't want that today. I was inspired by Asma's collection and selection, so we kept it upbeat. But for me, there's something really beautiful in using the actual vinyl, the physical vinyl that I grew up listening to, and creating new sounds out of that and new memories out of that, and creating something that is contemporary and current and queer, because when I hear these songs, you know, I'm not hearing a love song between a man and a woman. I'm hearing a love song between a woman and a woman. So what I like to do in my production process is I record my own vocals and I'll pitch shift them so it sounds like a guy singing to the sample of Lata Mangeshkar or whoever it is, and recreate that song, redesign that song for my ears, because that's how I hear it. So, you know, growing up, I worked with a lot of male music producers when I was a singer, and that was my primary thing. And I was always trying to explain, you know, this is the sound that I want. And it was this melting pot of, you know, British music, but also Indian music that I grew up listening to. And it was also lesbian music. And obviously they didn't know what I was talking about. So I had to recreate it myself and learn to produce so that I could do that. And that just became part of my process. So it's really interesting thinking about it now, because I've not really had to talk about it. But the romantic songs for me just really stand out, especially this one.
I think also this thing of the tangibility of records, which everyone is now beginning to talk about, having the material and then being able to make something new from it in new and different ways.
I think so, 100%, especially as, you know, like I love technology, but, you know, we know that our histories are being erased all the time. And, you know, I always say, look, we need candles and guitars, guys. This is what we need, because, you know, it's so easy to erase our histories, you know, whether that's queer histories or South Asian histories or, you know, whatever, it might be Dalit histories in my case. How do we access our history when we're not in charge of it? And increasingly technology, especially at this time of AI, you know, I know through my research as a writer and speaker for LGBT rights, I run an organization called Gaysians. I know that when I research every year for Pride and I write new articles, really spotlighting, you know, who's doing what and what our history is, you know, there are things that are missing, things that were around a couple of years ago aren't there anymore. And I think there is this erasure that happens with our stories. And I think that music and songs and records and vinyl, and these very tangible things, physical books, are the way that we hold on to what is ours. Because I trust that a bit more than technology these days.
100%. I could carry on talking about this for a long time. It's an amazing subject. But I'd like to move, if possible, to Nihal's second selection, which is...
So no one's going to get to hear Jay Sean and Rishi Rich and Juggy D.
Well, sorry, okay, this is fair, actually. He's right, he's got me.
Just 30 seconds.
Can we play 30 seconds of
Actually,
the Jay
then
Sean
you wouldn't
track?
hear the Punjabi bit, but anyway.
I think it's down that we've got, actually.
Well, we don't need to hear this then. Fade that down. That's not the record I said. So fade that down. Let's go to my second
Let's
one.
play Joggy, please, by Punjabi MC,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
This couldn't be any more different than the previous track.
ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਪਰਦੇਸੀ ਨੂੰ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਨਿਤ ਦਾ ਰੋਣਾ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ
This is one of the greatest drops in Punjabi music.
ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਪਰਦੇਸੀ ਨੂੰ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਨਿਤ ਦਾ ਰੋਣਾ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਨਾਲ ਰੰਜੇਠੇ ਜੋਗੀ ਦੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਜੋਗਣ ਹੋਣਾ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ
इश्क दे लिया जख्मां दे खुद हसास के मुंह सी लांगी जे यार मेरा मैनू जहर दे मैं गट गट करके पी लांगी
ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਪਰਦੇਸੀ ਨੂੰ
Thank you so much. What a track.
So, you know, from 12 years on Radio 1 playing music around the world, when people think of Punjabi MC, they always think of Mundi Antobachke. That's the one thing. And just a note to non-South Asians, every time Mundi Antobachke comes on, you don't have to do this. like, you can just dance how you want. Us Asians won't judge you if you're not doing this.
The light bulb.
Screwing a light bulb. But the thing about Punjabi MC was that I think in many ways, he's just one of the greatest South Asian producers. I mean, this is a guy who made this song, Mundi Antobachke, and I'm now talking about it. But the reason I played Joggi was because it's not often talked about, but it's just such a great club record. And having DJ'd around in clubs, that drop, what you're always looking for is that sweet spot in the moment where everyone feels that it's coming. Right? And everyone in that room knows that it's about to drop. And then when it does, it is pandemonium. And I've DJ'd in enough clubs and played that record to non-Asian audiences, and it's kicked off.
When is the first time you dropped this? Can you remember?
I mean,
Can you remember? Was it?
I don't remember what I did last week. But I was in Radio 1 from 2002 to 2014, and
Right.
I don't know. I think very, very early on,
okay.
And the thing about Punjabi MC was he was absolutely brilliant. I've interviewed him a number of times, and I remember asking him a question. When Mundi Antarbachke had Jay-Z, one of the biggest rappers in the world, jump on it and do a version of it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you move to New York? Why didn't you go and exploit this huge record that everybody's talking about, that's bumping out of every car in New York? Why didn't you go over there and exploit that? And his answer was, why would I leave Coventry?
Coventry, yes. What a genius.
Which I can assure you is something no one has ever said before in their lives. And a big shout out to all the people who are, of course, from the Midlands. But
amazing.
But he said that, and I just thought, there's a few artists that you interviewed during your time, and I just did in conversation with the poet John Cooper Clarke, and I've interviewed Bobby Gillespie and all kinds of people, and they're just authentically 100% who they are. They can't be anything else. There's no plan B. They're just immersed in the music, and that's all they can do. And Punjabi MC is that guy.
Amazing. Thank you, Nihal. Thank you so much. Asma, your second, which I believe is Aap Jaisa Koi from Kurbani. You're pulling out the hits. Nazia Hassan, I believe, is singing.
And Kurbani.
Kurbani,
Oh my
the
God.
film. Yes.
And Vinod Khanna was just amazing.
On fire.
He was so good. Are they going to play Aap Jaisa Koi?
We should play Aap Jaisa Koi.
But very short.
I keep forgetting to play. Please, let's play Aap Jaisa Koi. Wow. What an amazing... What a voice, right? What a voice. And left us too early. She was phenomenal,
and
beautiful.
This song is special. You know, this was the first record I bought with my own Eid money. I had saved the money and I bought Kurbani. And years later, I saw a number plate of a car next to outside my house which said Biddu. And I was like, cannot be that Biddu. It was. And the strange thing is that before I did anything else, I catered for Biddu. He was my neighbor. I found him in Sainsbury's one day, lost. And I was like, what are you trying to do? He said, I want to make Indian food. I said, I'll do it for you. He was saying, are you good? I said, no, I make home food. He said, oh yes, I can smell the food from my house. And this song, especially thing because, Biddu was the first person I cooked for. And when he ate the food, he told me, I've eaten food around the world, Asma, there's something magical about you.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Biddu, I think, is also one of the first Asian people on Top of the Pops. With Carl Douglas, Kung Fu Fighting.
Kung Fu Fighting, yeah.
He was one of the first guys to appear on Top of the Pops. I've just been told we've got approximately 10 minutes left.
Okay,
so we can either do more of this or we can do questions and answers. What would you prefer? We would... Should we play more music? Let's play some more music.
We'll talk less. Let's play music.
Let's play music. Let's play music.
Less.
Okay, Rita.
You can ask us questions on our Instagram accounts afterwards.
Exactly. You know where to get them. What should we play for your last one? Would you like to play your track or would you like to play the other one? Oh, wow.
Hang on a minute. Maybe next time?
Oh, wow. It's entirely up to you. No, she's not feeling
not
it.
Today,
Okay.
not today. Talk to me afterwards, yeah.
Your third track is Neele Neele
Neele Neele Ambar
Ambar Par. Could we please listen to Neele Neele Ambar Par, please?
नीले नीले अंबर पर चांद जब आए प्यार बरसाए हमको तरसाए ऐसा कोई साथी हो ऐसा कोई प्रेमी हो प्यास दिल की बुझा जाए नीले नीले अंबर पर चांद जब आए प्यार बरसाए हमको तरसाए.
Could we play a little bit of Rita's remix if we have time as well, please? Her response to is it to this track? It's to Neele Neele Ambar Par.
Yeah, so I won't sing because I'm having too much fun watching you singing. I know that's a cop-out, isn't it? But I'm going to, hopefully we can play a remix of that track that I'm working on at the moment.
It's the SoundCloud
It's still a
link.
demo version,
Yeah.
but to just give you a little taste of something.
प्यार प्यार नीले नीले अंबर पर चांद जब आए प्यार बरसाए हमको तरसाए.
It's not mixed yet, as you can probably tell. But
This audience can definitely tell it's not mixed. I mean, everyone's going, wait a minute, the high mid on that is not
चांद जब आए
Thank you guys. That's great. Cheers. Thank you. Brilliant.
thank you.
Neele Neele Ambar Par. The song.
You know what? There are two versions of this track. There's the male version and there's the female version. And to me, the female version, hands down, all day, every day. But, you know, it's not as listened to and it's not as popular, which is interesting to me. But it's just a classic, beautiful, romantic. I tell you what, we probably got 5 million songs with Chand in them. So you didn't hear this, but later on I just sampled Chand like over and over, and it's delicious. But yeah, there's something we're so poetic and romantic in the way that we write, and I think the lyrics for this are just so beautiful. And I just feel very grateful that I understand these songs and they're part of my heritage, you know. So yeah. That's that one for me. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, and we'll be listening and hoping to listen to more of your amazing music very, very
listen
soon
out.
as well.
Yeah, watch out.
Moving quickly on, Nihal, your final track, Mughal-e-Azam. I Mohabbat Zindabad. I Mohabbat Zindabad.
Yeah, so a film that took so long to make, it went from black and white into colour. Right? If something's worth doing, take 18 years or whatever it took to make it. And music, of course, by Noshad and Mohammed Rafi. Can we play this? Listen to this. Listen to this.
वफा की राह में आशिक की ईद होती है खुशी मनाओ मोहब्बत शहीद गाती है। जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद ऐ मोहब्बत जिंदाबाद ऐ मोहब्बत जिंदाबाद 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 ऐ मोहब्बत जिंदाबाद दौलत की।
And you know, I'm, you may have noticed by my surname of Sri Lankan heritage, so I don't speak Hindi, but there's something about the universality of language and song. And when you hear Mohammed Rafi sing that song, you don't have to understand Hindi to feel exactly the power and the emotion and how Long Live Love. It's an extraordinary piece of music by an extraordinary producer in an extraordinary film.
Beautiful. Really amazing last selection. Thank you, Nihal. Thank you. And finally, Asma,
Can I play the Sholay song?
it's
We really are going through all the big ones, aren't we? From Mughal Azam to Sholay.
the heavyweights, right? It is. It's heavyweight. Can we please play Mehbooba Mehbooba? You can put it up like as much as possible. Heartless having to cut these off. They're just in their prime and it's like, no, we're just about to start dancing and eating samosa and stuff. Asma, I mean, for everyone, this song is so amazing, so pivotal. Please tell us, why is it so amazing for you?
So Sholay is a film that is iconic. It's been 50 years. You know, even the simple dialogue, the kitne aadmi the. If you're just translating how many people were there, I mean, every dialogue in that film, from Surma Bhopali to, I mean, Gabbar Singh just blew it out of the water. So I just picked this song because, you know, again, it's that coming of age of Indian cinema. You know, this film just came out. And I was just talking to Javed Saab back with the Authors Lounge. He told me he started writing when he was 26. Oh my God, I look at my 25-year-old son, I think he can't tie his shoelaces.
Wow.
Can you imagine? He was 26 when he started writing.
That's your fault.
That's my fault. But I mean, and I hope artist doesn't see this because he's going to freak out when I said this. But it's just, Sholay is just a beating heart of all of us. And you know, and even for many people who are very young over here, you've all seen Sholay. So I just thought this song really kind of brings all that kind of vibe of what
I still cry.
Why this over Ye Dosti? Why Mehbooba over Ye Dosti?
Because
you've never been in a sidecar before.
No, it's not that. I thought Helen was amazing. I thought she was amazing, and I just wanted to think, you know, because women are often seen as this thing, and I understand that, but I thought she was incredible. I loved the song, that tone, that voice. And as you can see, I have a low voice as well. So I always have this kind of, I like people with that kind of tone. I love the song.
A wonderful film. I think I still cry to that. I mean, we won't talk about the last bit, just spoiler alert. But thank you so much for your amazing selections. Please thank our guests. I think we're going to go to some question and answers now, if that's okay. What an amazing audience. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry?
Yeah.
We do have time for Q&A.
Thank you.
We've got 5-10 minutes for Q&A, if that's okay as well. So if we could have anyone who has any questions, please, the lady in the glasses. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for a great session. We've all had great fun. But taking music to the other side is, what songs would you say are your most overplayed songs?
Overplayed.
Without a doubt, Mundi Antubachke, right? Like that record.
That's in the job description, right?
Yeah, that was for many years, and sadly, like that was the only song that anyone who's kind of non-Asian really knew, apart from the ones that had sampled Bollywood records like Truth Hurts, Addictive, and those kind of records. So for me, it would be that. Rinse that right out.
Any? No? From other... Okay.
You don't play weddings like I do you? That's the reason why you're never asked to play Mundi Antubachke.
Can I just say one thing? A lot of my people who come to my restaurant are Americans. That's the only song they use when they put a story. Mundi Antubachke.
On Instagram? Yes. That's the song that they use when they're on Instagram?
If you look in my stories...
Oh my God.
If you look at my stories...
That's the worst.
Yes. This is what they put.
Holy moly.
Completely not.
How rude.
No, he's so right. This is what they think. So
Bas hum sare Mundi Antubachke hain.
All Mundi Antubachke. That is only song that you'll see in my stories.
Hum sare Mundi Antubachke. Wow.
I went to her restaurant and I heard the greatest song. I can't say it, but it sounds good.
Mundi Antubachke. Mundi Antubachke.
Mundi Antubachke.
Damn.
Right, next question.
Any questions? Yeah.
Actually, Jay Sean once said to me that in America, someone went up to him and goes, "You're the cutest little Mexican."
Okay. Rita, thank you for a very core memory of my childhood, starting with Ek Do Teen and Madhuri. But which is your other favorite song of Madhuri Dixit?
Name some, please, and I can select. Give me yours.
Oh, Choli Ke Piche.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Oh, wow.
God, I wish we had that.
I feel bad that none of us leapt onto that straight away.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That is so iconic, though, isn't it? That is so iconic. You can't really go.
It is.
wrong.
It's
the drop on that.
Before Beyonce's that, it was cook, 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 cook. Before that, it was.
There's a great remix of that as well.
Oh, there are so many remixes of that. So many remixes. There's one by DJ Green Lantern that I played, which is unbelievable. Yeah. Right.
Brilliant. Thank you. Any other questions? Any more questions? There's someone just.
I can come right to you.
Okay.
Oh, Yusuf, you can't ask a question. You were like part of this whole thing. Come on.
Just a very quick one. What do you think about, do you know some of the songs that you've all referenced? When I used to stand in the video shop, which I did for many years, people used to snigger when the first remixes came out and people started sampling.
Dude, you've got to ask a question because we haven't got time.
So the question is, right, today you guys are owning this, so what do you think about that? You know, there's this whole elitism still in music. Because when you came to the gallery, somebody turned around and said, Bali Sagu, I can't recognize him, but he did something by bringing that music to audiences it never meant to. So I want to know how you feel about people who kind of snigger at.
Well, I mean,
he did a New Jack Swing remix of Choli Ke Piche, in fact.
You know, I feel, it's what we were talking about, what Nihal said earlier on, that there is a legacy of actual British history around kind of people who bring or push things forward, to quote the streets a little bit. Like it's a very important part of kind of being here that people are taking, similar to what Rita's doing as well. It's about respecting those aspects that we want to take forward with us without it becoming, an ordeal, but it's something that is actually very empowering. And that's, I think, what is so wonderful about people like Bali, people like Punjabi MC and others, that we can take these kinds of beautiful aspects of culture and take them forward with a certain amount of confidence.
Can I just say something? I am the first generation in here. Everybody else is second generation. And there are two things that are sacred to our culture, music and food. And I think that everybody has the right to take...
And type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
Don't joke.
Spoiler over there. Yes, type 2 diabetes as well. But I think that children of the next generation, if they are interested in taking the music and running with it or tweaking with food, I may not like what they're doing because it is alien to me. But it is great that they're doing it because this is one way of them dealing with this double identity. You're from the East and you're from the West. And I think that that is a huge thing. And even if it's not something, we must support the musicians who are doing this.
100%.
Because if we do not support them now, this will die out and this will just whittle out. And we need to keep this going because not everyone will sit and listen to Sholay. But this generation, what they're doing right now is they're sowing the harvest for the future generations. So invest in them.
So to your point, which is a great point, sitting in the front row is a guy called Rosh who manages Daytimers UK. And Daytimers is a DJ collective and remixers who their EP is called Alterations, out on Sony Music, and it's doing exactly what you're talking about, a completely new generation of DJs and actually creatives. It's Daytimers UK. I really suggest you guys go and check out what they're doing for the culture and a new generation of kind of 18 to 25-year-olds, and Rosh manages them brilliantly. And
I think just to add, absolutely, I think just to add to that, there is a kind of new, including Dialed In, individuals like Dialed In, and they are not just involving themselves within music, but within visual art. So there is something in the water at the moment where there is a kind of new generation of I suppose, confidence.
Well, I'm at Cannes Lion in France next week, which is the big kind of advertising, marketing and creative thing. And Diet Paratha are there being represented in amongst Serena Williams and all kinds, and Reese Witherspoon and all of that. So this younger generation of South Asian creatives are doing something that certainly my generation didn't manage to do. We did our bit, but
you did a lot.
We did our bit, but you also you have to. Culture isn't a monolith. You hand it on, and then they interpret it through their own experiences, which are different to my experiences, which are different to my parents' experiences, and it's just brilliant what Daytimers UK are doing.
Yeah, I think we have to celebrate it because, otherwise it does die out. And this is the erasure that I was talking about earlier. We have to keep remixing and retelling our stories and re-expressing our sounds through our own eyes and our own ears and passing those on for the next generation. Because if we don't, nobody else is going to do it. And we know that, So, yeah, big up Daytimers and Rosh as well.
Big up Daytimers, absolutely. I think Stuart Hall calls it re-remembering. Each generation must re-remember, I think. So, long may that continue. If there aren't any more questions... There was one more question? Yeah. If there is... Yes, please.
She's even brought her own mic.
Oh, well...
I was only joking.
Thanks, everyone. My question is, what is your advice to listeners or consumers that you wish people would do, especially to Indians or South Asians who kind of think that Bollywood is the end-all and be-all of music in the Indian scene, which it's not?
Well, I mean, I think you only need to see Diljit Dosanjh, AP Dylan. There's a whole, yes, in the Siddharth, there's a whole, and sadly, rest in peace, Sidhu Moosewala. There's a whole group of people that are coming through that have got nothing. I mean, look, Ed Sheeran just did a song with Arijit Singh called Sapphire, right? And Arijit Singh is the most followed artist in the world on Spotify. He has more followers than Taylor Swift, right? And The Guardian interviewed me about this gig that he's doing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which, of course, as everyone knows, the home of football. And he's doing that in September. And The Guardian journalist asked me about, why should white audiences go and see Arijit Singh? And I said, Arijit Singh doesn't care, right? Like, Arijit Singh is, right, like... The idea that everything we do has to be validated by the white gaze is just nonsense now. And I think I grew up in a time when it had to be, and when it was very destructive to be. Whereas now, Arijit Singh will sell out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and there may not be a single white face there, but that doesn't matter, right? Because he's just such a great artist. Now, I know Arijit is in Bollywood, but certainly for AP Dylan and Diljit Dosanjh, who was recently, of course, at the Met Gala with Shah Rukh Khan, it's a very, very different world that we're living in now. And I think that... Oh, and also, why am I not mentioning Hanuman Kind?
Of course,
right?
What a track.
Like, Hanuman Kind is doing things for the culture that I could not have dreamt of. Like, we had Riz MC coming through back in the day, and there were artists coming through, but what Hanuman Kind has done with those videos is off the scale. And he's playing in London, I think, in a couple of weeks' time. He's coming to play Village Underground, I think, in East London in a few months' time. So there's a whole, you know, I mean, I remember DJing at NH7 in Pune, and it wasn't Bollywood at all. You know, I took over a beatboxer, a doll player, tabla player, and we just played bass music. And if you looked at Coachella recently, how many South Asian artists were on that bill? So there's a big world out there that's kind of non-Bollywood. And just to be clear, that's not to be disparaging about Bollywood, right? But, and I think inherent in your question, was that for a long time, Bollywood's power stopped any other creativity coming through, right? Like it was so difficult, I think, for Indian artists in India to get signed, right? Because T-Series had everything or whatever. But now that is very, very different.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much to the panel. I think we're going to conclude there. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience as well and responding to the thing. Much appreciated. And thank you to JLF.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.